What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Rush Talk, where we'll be discussing all about business. So, today we'll be talking on how to get started in business in Jamaica. I'll be giving my story on how I first started Rush Alert, and I have a lot of failures along the road, and we have J Chin Wang here, which we'll be talking about his designing company and well as a company that he has started. So J Chin, yeah man, how you first did start your sewing business? Where the inspiration came from?
Honestly, it was just more about us taking a leap of faith, Have a skill and I just look and see how I could, monetize. I just went from there, At a particular niche, there was no one offering that service on campus. So, it was a particular niche that I was able to fill, and it was good,
Which campus are you talking about?
UB, man. So with the
UB.
that is it.
Yeah man, so you basically this year need to start.
Correct.
Start the business and you just decide so you're going to start to kind of feel like a gap there.
Correct.
I was that case, so you probably, because I know say most of it kind of broke in the UA days, so we kind of come up with solution of how we can make money and all them type of stuff there.
True. Yeah, well, that apartheid, once you're in Jamaica, you're always broke. Agree? Once you're in Jamaica, it's a dog fight.
It's a dog fight for real. It's kind of hard to make it out in Jamaica fair.
Once you're in Jamaica, you're hustling, so it's just that hustle mentality. Once you have a skill, you always try to capitalize on whatever skill you have,
Yeah.
The saying, too much is given, much is expected.
True.
So, if you have a resource which is a skill which is a resource, you try to use it as best as possible. So that was it.
So I remember you telling me a story that you actually didn't know to sew, because I thought you know to sew from early on. Was it in university that you learned to sew?
So, I am a curious person.
Yeah.
So, I thought I knew how to use a machine. I didn't know how to actually sew and make clothes and all that, but I basically was either you sink or you swim kind of vibe. So just launch, took it from there. So I just make a page, put it out on my tailor. People come and I learn to sew. So I got paid to learn how to sew, and running a small business, I always say, if you're on an entrepreneurial path, one of the best things you can do is to run a small business, especially a service-heavy business, where you deal with people constantly. Like just that interaction, what you learn from that, you cannot learn it anywhere else.
So, what are some of the lessons that you said you have learned by doing this sewing business? Because I remember that you start out small, and you reach a stage where you were actually even getting contract from even to sew for West Indies.
Yep.
And those type of companies as well as even UWI Carnival, not UWI Carnival, Jamaica Carnival. Yeah man, so I probably know that you have probably gained a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. So what are some of the things that you have gained from running a small business?
It's just the small business.
Yeah.
The skills that it gives you is just those people skills. I would say is one of the biggest things you take away from running a small business. That daily interaction with dealing with people every day, kind of seeing that, just that interaction in terms of business. You're providing a service and somebody comes in, the customer service down to you, just that whole interaction, just that people to people interaction. You just learn so much talking to people. You kind of learn your consumer, you learn your customers. That is invaluable. So that was definitely one of the best things I did. I learned the most doing that, just sewing. All I did was just bring my machine and just started sewing. I learned a lot from it. Yeah. So think enough about me though. About Rush Alert, what would you say?
Well,
what's the biggest takeaway you would say? First of all, what is Rush Alert? Let's start there.
Yeah, let's start there. Before I even get to what is Rush Alert, I probably need to probably just start and talk about how we got to the point of Rush Alert, because in getting to the point where of to form a limited liability company and to get on a major client was a big thing, but there was a lot of small things leading up to that step. So before we had started Rush Alert, we had entered what we call the Vincent Ossan competition. So I was basically on the University of the West Indies campus one day, was at Juicy, and I saw this friend and he asked me, do you know about this competition that they're keeping at MSBM? And I was saying, what competition? And then I inquired about the competition and I found out that it was an entrepreneurial competition. And I was really from an entrepreneurial family. So I decided that the first thing that I want to do is that I want to come up with an idea. And I remember me and my friend Odin, we started to brainstorm some idea. I said, you know what? We feel like probably selling some fruits and vegetable type of idea that'd be good. So we come up with this idea we call Fresh at Your Step. And I remember we entered the competition with Fresh at Your Step. We passed the initial round and all type of stuff, but we did not win the competition, but we won the elevator pitch. And I don't know what the Vincent Ossan what they saw in us. We decided that, by the way, they invite us to the National Business Model Competition. I was saying that I don't feel like this type of business can win the National Business Model Competition. So I was really out there thinking about what is a big enough problem that I probably can find a solution for. And I remember one Sunday, I bought the Sunday Cleaner, and on the front page, I saw this article about, I think it was Shanika. I think her name was Shanika Gray. There was this young lady. She was abducted on her way from her friend's funeral, and she was brutally murdered. And it dawned on me that this was basically the same thing that happened to my cousin, because he was on his way to the ice cream shop one Sunday evening, and he was actually abducted and brutally murdered. I said that we definitely need a solution for this wicked problem, because the thing was, the incident happened around 7-8, but his mom, which is my aunt, was actually at work, and she didn't find out till about 11 in the night. So I was thinking to myself, we need something that, if something should happen to your loved one, you can instantly alert them that you're in danger, because nobody loves you more than your loved one, and they will definitely come and seek out what is wrong. So the idea came. Initially, the first name for Rush Alert wasn't Rush Alert, The first name was actually Rashidi Alert, because I named it after my cousin. Yeah, man. So we enter back. We decided that we're going to use this idea for the National Business Model Competition. And
alright, break. So how did it go from Rashidi Alert to Rush Alert? Like, what was the
yeah, man.
behind that?
Yeah, man. I'm going to get there.
Alright.
Yeah, man. But I want to kind of
give the backstory.
Yeah, man. Give the backstory how we reached to that stage. So Rashidi Alert, initially, that's the name of Rush Alert. We started, so while we enter, because we're building up to the National Business Model Competition, so the Vincent Ossan, the MSBM Vincent Ossan competition, they had assigned us with a mentor. And I must say, mentors are very, very important. Yeah, man, they can define or they can make or break a business, because sometimes you don't really have the knowledge that is required to take your business to the next level, and you need that guidance from somebody that probably would have already been in the space to kind of help to guide you along the different processes. So what we did was they assigned us a mentor, and the mentor, we started to use what is called a business model canvas. So essentially what a business model canvas is, it have different stages. I think it have about 8 stages that a business normally go through. So you have your value proposition. So it basically helps you to kind of define your business. You understand, to make sure if you just asking the question if your business really makes sense.
Correct.
So the first thing that it does is that you have a first what they call some hypothesis that you're going to ask yourself some question about the business. So the question that you're going to ask about the business is who is your customer? You understand? What is the value proposition of this business?
Mm-hmm.
Understand? Who is going to be a customer, and how you're going to take this business from an idea to reality. Because the first thing you don't want to do is you don't want to invest millions of dollars in an idea and you don't test if the idea makes sense. So it's a way that you can test your idea without spending millions of dollars by coming up with a minimum viable product.
MVP.
So yeah, man, a MVP. So you have the different channels how you're going to reach your customer and all. You ask a lot of questions, but in order to move to the different stages of the business model canvas, you basically have to answer the different questions from the stages before. Yeah, man. So one of the first things that before we even decide that we're going to build out an application, one of the first things that we did was we did a market research. We wanted to find out if this thing actually makes sense before pumping money into it. So the first thing we did a market research. So we basically just do a quick survey where we went on campus because initially what we wanted to do, we wanted to target students. So we wanted to sell the application to students initially. So we did a questionnaire, we go to students and say, are you concerned about your safety? Yes, all of them concerned about your safety. And we say, would you use the application to keep you safe? And all of them said yes. Then the next follow-up question was, will you be willing to pay for this application? They said that even though they would like to use it, they said that they don't have the money to pay for it. You understand? And it's understandable. Most students are actually broke. They are basically supported.
Correct.
They are supported by their parents. So then we decided that, wow, it doesn't make sense. We're going to build a product. Because at the end of the day, you want to be generating revenue from the business because that's the only way the business is going to be sustainable. So we decided that the students are not willing to pay. So we have to pivot now to decide that what else are we going to do? Who else probably will be willing to pay for this product? So what we did now was we decided we probably need to do a next survey and target the parents to find out if the parents would be willing to pay for this. As we also as well as we're trying to target probably the JCF, if we can partner with the JCF and stuff. So we did the survey and realized that parents, yes, majority of the parents they said that they would be willing to pay for the application for their child. But at the same time, we're on the University of West Indies campus, so we're saying that well, you know that the responsibility of the student on the campus is the university is responsible for the safety and security of the students. We say, what if we probably approach the university? I'm wondering if they'd probably be interested in our solution. So we started the conversation with the university, with the deputy principal. And to our amazement, because to be honest, initially we weren't even thinking about the university, because we weren't thinking that the university would pay for our application. We were basically thinking about the student as well as the parents. And then they decided that yes, they were interested. And that was when we decided that, hey, what? We have a potential client. So we started to build out an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. So the minimum viable product, we build it out with the most basic feature where somebody can just send out an alert to notify the university that they are in danger. So we enter the national business model competition with the initial name was with Rashidi Alert. And we didn't win the competition, but we gained a lot of experience from being a part of that competition, and gain a lot of business knowledge as well as learn about the business model canvas and how to go about networking and getting investors and all that type of stuff. And Then yes, so the negotiation was still going on in the background with the university. So I remember one of the first time pitching Rush Alert to the university. I was looking back at the PowerPoint presentation the other day, and I was laughing to myself because what we pitched initially to the university was basically a mock-up that I did in words of how the application would work. So we didn't went to the university and actually sell them an actual product. We sold them an idea. You understand? Because what most entrepreneur normally do is that they normally come up with some brilliant idea in their head.
Right.
Yeah, man. I say, yeah, man, that if I build this idea, yeah, man, the market is going to take it up. And to their surprise, when they build that idea, nobody wants it because they didn't went out and they didn't do their market research to find out if somebody is interested. Because some of the time, you see, the thing about entrepreneurship, we have a lot of brilliant ideas in our head, but the market sometimes is not big enough for our idea, and it is not feasible enough to basically spend millions of dollars investing in something that nobody is going to buy. And when they do that now without consulting anybody, and it fails, they become disheartened, and it's like it kills their entrepreneurial spirit. So I always recommend that before you start anything, start out by doing your market research.
Test whether
man,
you're actually solving a problem, actually finding a solution to something, because at the end of the day, that is what is going to give you a business. So I guess one of the main takeaways just from my story and yours as well, is go back to just that leap of faith,
Facts.
Action is always better than all of that planning. Like just making that initial step, like taking that initial step is probably the best thing you can actually do. Like just start.
Yeah, man, just start.
Not to sound like the Nike commercial, but just do it. You know what I mean? Just do it.
That's one of my favorite.
That's a takeaway.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite slogan.
Correct.
Just do it. Because what I realize with business, is that some of the time, it's like you're not going to know all the variables.
You cannot.
Man. No matter the amount of planning that you do,
right,
you will not know all the variables. And sometimes you just have to just take a leap of faith and just do it.
Just start. Just start. Man. Just get your feet wet. Sink or swim. Yeah. Question though.
Yeah.
Still didn't address how I went from Rashidi to Rush Alert.
Alright. So I remember one of the day we were at a session with our mentor. And he was saying, Rashid, there's just something about this Rashidi Alert name that if you're thinking from a global perspective and scale the company, name is very important. So he was saying that the name Rashidi, it kind of sound kind of tacky, if that's a good word to use for it. And then he basically said, Rush Alert just come out of the blues. Just a Rush Alert. And I said, yeah man, so that sound like you have a little buzz door. And I said, Rush Alert.
So it was a marketing decision.
Yeah man, it was a marketing.
It was thinking bigger, thinking years ahead, and not just thinking about the now.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the decision behind that.
So yeah man, so that's how the name Rush Alert came about, and then we decided that we're going to run with it. And getting to the point where, because right now we have as you can see, we even have a panic button.
Yeah. Right, so where is Rush Alert now? And it was so we have a smart multi-use wristband.
Yeah man.
OS button, NFC available, flexible to wear, magnetic charging. Yes. What is it that I hold in my hand right now? Discuss.
Yes. So right now you hold a panic button in your hands that work with the Rush Alert application. But I don't even want to jump the gun, because even getting to this stage where we have a panic button, it takes us. So what I want to do is on our next episode, we want to discuss how we got to a stage where we signed a licensing agreement with the University of the West Indies. And what are some of the obstacles that we have to face in getting to that stage? We talk about the team dynamics, as well as how to build a company from scratch without having no money whatsoever. I'll be sharing all of that in our next episode. So stay tuned to our next episode of Rush Talk, where we'll be discussing all of those.